Hello everyone. Today we're talking about an interesting fruit, a fruit that really pushes the boundaries on what can be considered a fruit and what can't. And that fruit today is the pomegranate. Now, ordinarily when we go to the shops, it's quite trendy. I remember when I was younger, and you'd go to the supermarket, you'd be able to get seedless watermelon and your regular watermelon. And the same with grapes. You'd get globe grapes, which are the ones with the big pips in the middle, and seedless grapes. Now, not so much. You go to the supermarket, I don't know how it is in other parts of the world, but you go to the supermarket, even going to the farmers markets, everything is all seedless. You can't get watermelon with seeds, you can't get grapes with seeds, and some people make the claim that the seeded fruit, I guess you would call it, is actually has much more flavor. But I suppose convenience really sort of triumphs over these sorts of things. People they don't want to be bothered spitting out the pips. Even with mandarins, less and less seeds and pips in mandarins now. Of course, even in seedless watermelon, it's not a perfect process. It's not like bananas where it's cloned. It's actually with watermelon, it's two different plants bred together, so you do get seeds in watermelons, but it's very, very little. But a pomegranate, what makes that so strange in comparison to the rest of these things is that it's almost all of the edible parts, apart from the juice, are the seeds. On the outside of a pomegranate, here's one I've got here, with an orange, I don't know if you can really see that, but with an orange, you can at least use the zest of citrus fruits like oranges and lemons and mandarins. You can use that in cooking. You can eat it like raw. I wouldn't suggest it. It's not very pleasant. And even with banana peels, the pomegranate, it's very tough. It's like bark. It's completely inedible. And it's a fruit with quite a reputation, I would say, of being notoriously difficult. People, they just don't want to be bothered with pomegranates. There's not a lot of juice and I guess what you'd say water content, like inside a watermelon, for example, or even apples and stuff. They're very juicy. The citrus fruits, grapes, there's an explosion of juice. But being that pomegranates, they primarily come from the Middle East and very dry climates. They don't have a lot of juice in them, so they've got a bit of an infamous reputation. If you ever played Prince of Persia, not the original DOS one, but if you played, I always remember this, I don't know why, but if you played Prince of Persia Sands of Time, there's a cutscene between the female supporting character, who I believe is called Farah, and the prince, and he asks her what her favorite fruit is, and she replies that it's the pomegranate. He detests this. He's outraged because the pomegranate is notorious for being so much work just to eat, just to get inside, just to separate the edible from the inedible, and that's really why it has such a bad reputation. But I'm gonna try and speak up a bit for the pomegranate in this video because it doesn't need to be this way. It's not that difficult. And here's another one I've prepared earlier, because what I'd like to show is, firstly, before we really dive in and give it a taste test, I don't need a lot of pomegranates, so this will be interesting for me. But if we look inside, we do a little cross section here, you can see if you just cut the top off here, it actually comes off into sections, sort of like a mandarin. And if you want to get at the seeds, all you have to do is run your knife down the sides where the sections are, and then it just pops out like that, and then the seeds just sort of fall off, or they easily just come off like that. So it's not that difficult. The other thing you can do, if you don't want to be bothered with that, which is very little work, but even if you don't want to be bothered with that, you can just cut the top off. You can go in with a spoon and just eat it like it was a pudding or something, and work your way down, and that's perfectly alright as well. So the thing I want to tackle before I get into this is that there used to be, I don't know if there still is, a lot of confusion about pomegranates in whether the seeds were edible, or not necessarily whether they were edible, but whether it's appropriate to eat them. You know, of course, all the seeds in apples and mandarins are edible, but those are sort of an inconvenience. Most people just spit them out. They don't want to deal with them. But with the pomegranate, because you're going into a little bit of work to really get this out, get this apart, and you're not really left with much outside of the seeds. You're left with a little bit of juice. It's very purple, very red, beetroot colored. It's very nutritious, the juice, but if you want to go and buy it, it's very expensive because there's not much juice in a pomegranate. And when I went to the supermarket, $8 per pomegranate is what they were charging. So if you really want to go out there, you want to buy yourself a pomegranate, and you don't even want to bother with eating the seeds, you've got to ask yourself, are you getting your money's worth? Are you really getting the whole pomegranate experience? Because that's really what it's about. It's not just eating a fruit, you know, you want the experience of the entire fruit. You want to get inside the fruit's head, so to speak. But enough sort of talking on. Here, I'm not going to bother peeling it apart. I'm just going to go in with a spoon. But before I do, if you don't have one of these, you can pop down to like a cutlery store or one of those kitchen stores, like any department store, even your supermarket. It tends to have disposable spoons, but I don't know if they'd really be good for digging into a pomegranate. But anyway, here we go. This is going in. My first time in a long time trying the pomegranate, seeds and all. So what can we say about eating the pomegranate? It's a very interesting taste, you know. There's not a lot that can really be compared with pomegranates. It's not like a citrus fruit or anything like that. If anything, it almost reminds me of sort of sugary beetroot. But if you've never tried it, like even the juice, I highly recommend you go out there, you get yourself some so you can experience what a pomegranate tastes like. But the whole experience of eating a pomegranate is also not like anything else, really. After all, you don't cut open a grapefruit, for example, and just start spooning away into it. You make a huge mess. This is more like almost eating like a yogurt or a pudding or that sort of thing. And I want to mention just briefly that of course pomegranate seeds, even if you're averse to eating the seeds, they can still be used. You can still use the pomegranate seeds, separate them out. As I've shown you, it's quite easy to do. You can cut it into sections, you take the seeds and you can mix it in with your muesli or yogurt or something like that. Something where that little crunch will just get you a bit more flavor, a bit more texture in your food that you're looking for, and a bit of extra flavor from the pomegranate as well. Now, pomegranates, what are we getting out of them? That's really what we want to know. Sometimes we might pay a lot for a pomegranate, so what are we getting out of it? Well, I know The vitamin K, you don't get a lot from other fruits. You get, you know, your vitamin A's, your vitamin C's, and there's a lot of vitamin A, I believe, in pomegranate as well. But vitamin K, very important for keeping the calcium on your bones. That you get a lot from the pomegranate. So, already we're a step above some other fruits. So I've got to give props for that. And then you get a lot of fiber from the seeds as well. Some folate, which is good for pregnant mothers. And on top of that, let's not dismiss the actual experience of eating a pomegranate. You know, a lot of times I'll see these girls eating and they'll be trying to keep thin. So what do they do? They'll get themselves a couple of celery sticks for lunch. Maybe a cracker or a small tin of tuna. And you know, there's not much in eating a celery stick, is there? You take a couple of bites and it's just gone. Not very much flavor, nothing. Whereas this is a whole nother adventure. This is like spoon spelunking into your pomegranate. It really gives you a sense of achievement as you go down, as you get those delicious seeds in. So, all in all, the taste, unique. You're not going to get anything else like it from your other sort of mainstream fruits, I guess I would say. The adventure of eating it, can't get that anywhere else. Also a unique array of vitamins and minerals. The cost can be a factor, but if you head down to farmers markets, you know, you can. I picked these up for $1 each, and I saw a particular grower. He was selling a huge box of them. Must have been 20 or 30. Whole box, $20. So you know, there are good deals out there. You don't need to go to your supermarket. Remember to support the growers whenever you can. And there's not a lot of fruits coming from those sorts of dry, arid regions. It's not like anything else. So keeping that in mind, I'd like to give the pomegranate a 7.1 out of 10. Hope you enjoyed this pomegranate review. The next one will be on mandarins. If you've got any suggestions for fruits or vegetables I should review next, feel free to leave them in the comments. And you have a lovely day.